Hello, hello, and welcome to Kingdom Leaders Connect, the podcast. I am your host, Shonda Joy Howerton, and I am so glad that you have joined us on today. Listen, I am super duper excited about the two guests. We got two. Listen, two better than one, y'all. We have two amazing guests today that I'm going to introduce to you in just a minute. But if this is your first time tuning in to Kingdom Leaders Connect, can you do me a favor? Let's pause for a quick second. If you're viewing on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, right? So that you can be notified when we in these YouTube streets, right? And if you're listening to our amazing podcast, make sure you follow and or like our podcast and then share it with somebody. And if you're watching via YouTube, honey, share that too, right? Let them know that some amazing things are going on here under the Kingdom Leaders Connect umbrella. All right. So now that we've gotten the particulars out of the way, I am so excited to introduce my guest with an S to you all on today. I met them in those clubhouse streets and I'm so excited. So I am going to bring on Jerica and Jaidyn as I get ready to introduce them to you all. So they are a mother and daughter duo, and I'm so excited. I met them in Clubhouse. Jerica has an amazing room that she has every Monday through Friday where she allows us to introduce our businesses so that we can share with the world. We don't just share our businesses in there, but we also share what we're working on, why, so that we can support one another. And that is how I met her. And that is a part of the Herpreneur Network that's under Dr. Nikki Ziegler. So enough said, she has a heart of gold. And I'm so happy to have her here, have them here on today. So I'm going to say, Jerica and Jaidyn, welcome to Kingdom Leaders Connect. Woo!
Thank you. Yay.
I
We're
love it.
so
See, that's the
excited
excitement.
to
I
be
love it.
here.
Yay. So listen, I have shared with them a little bit about who you all are, but would love to have you all introduce yourself a little bit more.
Yes. I'm Jerica and this is Jaidyn. It's my oldest daughter. One of two. I have a youngest as well. She's at school right now. But we have a candle company. Me and Jaidyn started our candle company back in 2018. It was really just a venture that we used to connect back to each other. Jaidyn and Journey are 10 years apart, a whole decade. So it was a big shock for us as a family because it's me and her and Journey. And we needed to find a way for me and Jaidyn to reconnect because, I mean, we were together 10 years and then boom, there's this other person that's taking up our time. So we had to really kind of figure out how our relationship dynamic was going to change. And once we did that, we connected with candles. We started with slime and I did not like it. It was just too messy. So I was like, Jay, like candles, they're soft, they start out liquid and they turn solid. Let's try this. It's the same concept. We just added a few extra pieces. And that's really how our business came about. It was just really, like I said, for a way for us to connect with each other. And we took it to a local farmer's market and the lady was like, oh my gosh, where can I get more of these? She loved the candles. And we were like, well, shoot, let's look a little bit deeper into this. And so then we started our empire.
I love that. As a mom, I so connect with that. And you're saying your kids are 10 years apart. Mine are a year and a half apart. And I still need to, do some bonding sometimes to that older one because he's like, I just need mommy and son time. So it's very real. And I think when you have multiple kids, there has to be something special or unique about the bond that you have with each of them. So kudos to you, mama, for figuring out a way that you all could connect. And who knew? Who knew that it would take off, right? Who knew?
Right.
That's amazing. But I love that you're adventurous, right? You're adventurous because you said, all right, let me see what we can do. Let's go to the farmer's market. I mean, first of all, let me just back up. Yes, I agree with you with the slime. Listen, I still got slime stuck in my carpet.
See, it's so messy.
It
So
is.
messy.
And it just feels so crazy. Like,
Mm.
oh. So I still have slime stuck in my carpet. I totally understand that. And kudos to you for figuring out a different way that you can still keep a bond and reconnect without it being slime. No no shade to the slime. We just not slime
Right.
fans, okay?
Hmm.
Absolutely. So Jaden, tell me, how is it working with mom as a business partner?
It gets tiring at times, but it really is fun. I just love how like I walk in one day coming home from school and I smell like this really good scent, and then like if it's a scent that I know, I try to guess it from time to time, and then we get to mix some colors at times. It's really fun.
I mean, so you gotta be like a rock star at your school, right? I mean, you're not, I don't even know why you're still going to school because you're doing the doggone thing, right? You are already a business owner. How amazing is that?
It really is fun. I love doing it, and I'm so glad that we're slowly branching out and doing different types of things and experiencing new um, processes and crafts because I like to craft a lot. So when we get to do fun crafts along with the candles to make them all pretty and nice and just make the smell even better than it already is,
Mm.
it's really nice.
Okay, so clearly I need to get me a candle or two. That's first of all. And really quickly, for those that are joining us in the YouTube world or listening via podcast, I'm so happy to not only have them on today, but guess what? They are actually one of our sponsors as well for the Kingdom Leaders Connect. So we certainly thank you all for thinking enough of the podcast and our listeners to be sponsors. Whoop, whoop to you guys. That's amazing. So, one of the things that you just said, Jaden, is you're branching out. So, would you or mom like to tell us about where you are and how you're branching out, Magic Sense? And is it by JaiJou?
JaiJou.
JaiJou.
JaiJou. See, I don't listen. Correct
And
me. I want to get
no,
it right.
see, yes, JaiJou. So JaiJou stands for Jaidyn, which I spell her name Jaidyn, and then Journey, which is her name is spelled regular. So I combined their names, and I made JaiJou.
Yeah.
So it's Magic Sense by JaiJou.
See, I knew the J was for Jaden, but I wasn't sure about that. And I was like, Jerica's J-E-R. Okay, I don't know, but I got it. I love it. And
Yes.
even though it was a project that you started out with Jaden, right? I love
Hmm.
that you didn't leave Journey out. That just brings tears to my eyes. I am so
Yes.
emotional right now, y'all. That brings tears to my eyes. That's beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
Journey is our scentologist. So she lets us know what does and does not smell good.
Okay, go on,
She's
Journey.
very vocal about the different
Absolutely.
combinations that we make.
I love it. I love it. But you know what? It's so amazing. You know what? Before you get a chance to share with us where you all are and how you branched out, one of the things that you just mentioned, is so important as parents to recognize the gifts that are within our children. We don't I say this is my 2 cents. Let me know if it's not yours. It's okay, right? But I don't want my child to become an adult and still try to figure out who they are.
Right.
I want them to know as soon as possible, like you're doing with Jaden. Who knew, Jaden, right? That you were going to be a candle maker and a business owner at such a young age. But even if this is not something that she does for the rest of her life,
Mm-hmm.
it's a stepping stone, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
helping her to become confident about who God created her to be. And as she evolves, she may explore other things, but she
Yeah.
won't be new to being an entrepreneur. She won't be new to stepping out on faith, right? Because it was faith,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That did this. And so how amazing is that? And as you know, having more than one kid, you normally got more than one personality and more than one gift.
Yes.
So it's interesting, right? Go ahead, Jerica. I don't want to.
No, I agree with you 110%. I think that this day and age, entrepreneurship allows us to kind of be able to nurture those things that our children are want. The generation before, like my mom's generation, they were taught to work. And that's just what we were taught. They were taught. So they worked. And so as an adult, I worked. I put my talents behind and was more focused on what I needed to do to sustain a living rather than what God put in me to be able
Mhm.
to sustain a living. We have to all understand that our gifts that God gives us will make room for whatever assignment that He has for us to take, which will take care of us.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I really, really love the generation that I'm in because entrepreneurship wasn't something that was incognito or something that people didn't speak about. It was heavily spoken as I was growing up. And so me being able to instill that in her, being able to say, hey, like, yes, this is what we're doing now. But she has a bunch of talents. She's just as crafty as I am. And I know that as, like you say, she gets older, stuff is going to change. Things are going to change. Even now, our roles have changed. She used to be totally hands-on with the candles. She used to, do the whole nine. Now she's more on the marketing end. She takes care of all of our photos. She takes care of our customers at all the events. She sets up and does all the decorations at all the events, along with the writing part of the business, more so than the candle making. She does do the decorating of the candles though, and the colors and stuff like that, because she likes that part. But as far as making sure, because like you said, we have a lot of platforms we're on now, so making sure that the production of the candles are done and everything like that, I took on a lot of more of that role. But as everything changes, she's going to have that thought process of, okay, this idea I can run with, this idea I can try. Because it may not always work, but what's, a fail is just another way to try.
Absolutely.
And so I'm happy that she has that, and we don't have any, I don't want her to have any limitations, like they say the sky's the limit, but it's not, because you can go into the stars. There's really not a limit on things that you have, and as long as she stays on the path that God has for her,
that's right.
I'm here 110%. And like you say, with the thing, when we started the candles, I literally had to go to work that day to get the money to even buy the materials for the slime when we started, so it was a whole different situation. We were in a different time in our life, but me wanting to make sure that I made a way and not an excuse.
Come on.
I hope that I instilled that in her as well, as she grows.
That's good. I hope whoever's listening will put that in the comments. Listen, what'd you say? What one more time for the people in the
make
back?
a way and not an excuse.
I love that. She said she had to make a way and not an excuse. We can always find an excuse, right? But just as easily as we find a way to make an excuse, we can just as easily find a way. What did it say? You can make a way out of no way. It just depends on how badly you want something, right? And how far you'll go to get it and to make it happen. And so I was on a podcast last night, and what we were saying was, a lot of things that God has for us is within our reach. It's really within our reach, but a lot of us don't have the faith to even just extend our spiritual hands and reach up and grab down what God has for us. And so I'm so very proud of you, for that's not your story. I'm so glad about that, right? You up and you grabbed it, you saw something bigger. And as you were sharing, I was thinking, as your business continues to evolve, as it continues to grow, like, your role will begin to change. And I love what Jaidyn is already doing. I love how she does her part, sitting at the tables, making sure this is right? She's getting stuff organized and ready. And you know what? Because teamwork makes the dream work, right? And so you really, I love it. I love it. And I was thinking, as it grows, I can't wait to see her other gifts and her talents that more are going to come out, because as the business grows, there will be another demand on what you do. I can't wait for y'all to start. Have you already hired people yet?
No, we haven't started hiring people, but we do have an amazing family. And I pay them in food most of the time. But my sister, my niece, comes and helps, and they're great. They come and help. Especially last week, we had a huge order, a bunch of stuff that came in. We do wholesale as well. For private labeling for companies, and so we had a big order on last week, and we had to get that pushed out before our shows, and so they came and helped, and we were able to do what we had to do to get it done. But yes, we are going to be looking into hiring people. We did launch on Walmart.com back in August. As well as we launched on Inspire magazine bookstore about 3 or 4 days ago.
Awesome.
And then we also have our own web page, site, which is on the screen. I see. I love that. That's our web page. And then we're also in Clarksville, Virginia. as well at a local retail location. And I can give you that information too shortly. But yeah,
Okay.
we have those different avenues that are opening up, and then we're also opening another e-commerce platform in a couple weeks. So we're going to we've been extremely blessed, and we have been are doing our due diligence and finding another location because the kitchen table is not working no more.
Expansion,
Yeah.
expansion. Oh, that is so amazing. So, what was your journey? So, we found out that, the company, for those that are just joining in, right? Let's just do a quick recap for them. And so, the company Magic Sense by JaiJou, I'm going to get it right. JaiJou, right?
Yeah, you will. I
I
believe in
will get it right.
you. Yes.
JaiJou, Magic Sense by JaiJou. I got it right. So it started with you, Jerica and Jaidyn, the mom and daughter duo, so that you all could find a way to spend more time together. Yes, and
Yes.
you took it to is it a farmer's market,
Yes, a farmer's market here in Clarksville,
and they
Tennessee.
wanted more.
Hmm.
They wanted more, and it turned into a blossoming company. And now you all are in multiple places. You're on your website. You're getting ready to launch out another e-commerce platform. You guys are in, is it Walmart and Walmart.com?
No, only on Walmart.com.
Okay, good, good. Just clarification, y'all. So y'all, everybody, right, can go to
Yes.
Walmart.com and grab your Magic Sense. Oh my goodness. And you are at a location in Clarksville, Virginia. Listen, and
Mhm.
this is just the beginning. One of the things that I like to say is that God is just getting started. Listen, whoo, I am excited. I can't wait. You guys are going to be hiring a person soon because at some point your orders, thank you, Jesus, they're going to, it's gonna be too much for the family.
Amen.
Listen,
Yes,
you ain't
God.
gonna be able to feed them folks that much. Listen, it's gonna be too much. And
Yes.
I love what God is doing, expansion. And so, can you tell us about your journey? How did you all get on Walmart.com, and how are you keeping up with the demand?
Okay, so it's all about connections.
Mhm.
It's all about connections and being a herpreneur. I'm a herpreneur on the Herpreneur Network. The amazing Dr. Nikki Ziegler, she had the vision a while ago and just manifested it, and then including yourself. I've met some amazing women in business, and just from that relationship and connection, challenging myself to do better,
Mm.
challenging myself to do better and not just, limit God. God's humongous and he wants us to have everything that we want. And so I start asking for things. And I met this amazing guy named Jeff, and he has a Walmart. He has over 3,000 products, actually over 5,000 products on Walmart. And he
Mhm.
said, well, I can help you get on Walmart. And I said, okay, well, I would love to do that. So he literally restructured my entire website. He challenged me to get better photos, get better wording, more better descriptions. And so I did it. And he launched my products on Walmart. We actually just added a new scent to the platform for the Christmas season coming up, which is called Harvest Rose. And it's
Mm.
in honor of my grandmother, Rosie. I made the scent. It's an amazing floral harvesty combination. But my grandmother passed last year,
Okay.
and we did the Fall Rosie collection together. That was one of the last things we did together.
Oh.
Was that and so this year, being that she wasn't with us, I said, well, I'm going to honor her still. And I'm going to continue to honor her every year because her birthday is August 21st anyway. So it's right at the fall season launches. But I made the scent and I actually just launched it. And I'm so excited about it because of the fact that it's something that I personally made. And it
Mhm.
has so much sentimental value to me that I was able to get it on such a prestigious platform. And Walmart was one of her favorite stores. She called
Oh,
it Wally World.
yes,
And
Wally World.
listen, all of the grandbabies know about Wally World and Dollar Tree
Yes.
and McDonald's. Those are her three. If you was looking for her and she wasn't at home, those she's at one of them places. And so
Oh.
it's just so much that God has just been lining up for us. And I tear up because of the fact that I never would have thought I could be here. And the fact that I
Mm.
didn't have to go outside of something that I loved. I actually was younger and we used to go to the underground in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, so
Okay.
we used to go to the underground in Atlanta, and there's this candle shop, and they make candles. They hand dip the candles, and they make them
Mm,
gorgeous. I mean, beautiful, beautiful candles. I'm not even sure if they're still there, but I would sit there and watch it for hours. And my mom would they would go around shopping, and they wouldn't even worry about me. They would, because they knew where I was. I would just stand at the window and watch them make these candles. And for God to reiterate my passion
mm,
in such a like what, I'm 34 now, so decades later,
mm.
and be able to share it with my child, and then to be able to honor my grandmother, in this time of, it's still a grieving process for me.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to honor her in such a way to say, "Hey, Mama, you got your own candle on Walmart." It's just been real surreal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thank God. I thank God. I give Him all the honor and glory for everything, for the
Amen.
whole journey.
It's amazing. And then there's Journey, right? And we
Then
can't
there's
leave. And
Journey.
then there's Journey.
Yes, then there's Journey.
Absolutely. I love that. It's amazing how God, He's so much bigger than
Mm.
us. And he has, I always say, he has so many bags in his trick. I mean, he has so many tricks in
Yes.
his bag,
Tricks in
right?
his bag.
Like
Yeah.
he'll show us maybe one or two tricks, but baby, he got a whole bag full. And so it is amazing. But I love how he brings things full circle. You had
Hmm.
no idea at that time. You're sitting and you're watching. The understanding that you have is different. If I try to go make a candle, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna read some instructions, right? And I'm gonna
Right.
try to hope it works. But you have a different understanding from having watched them
Hmm.
hours. If you think about
Yes.
all the times that you sat there and watched them, that's hours. That was YouTube, Jaidyn, before there was YouTube, right?
Right.
Because now we can go on YouTube and put in anything, right? And get a
Uh-huh.
tutorial. But that was YouTube before there was YouTube. You sat and you watched and you were still, right? You weren't fidgety and you paid attention to the intricacy of how they were creating those hand dipped. That's crazy and amazing. But God has a way of doing things that it's too big for us. It's too broad for us. So if we
Hmm.
just take one step at a time and walk with God, He will, you said it earlier, our gifts will make room for us, right?
They will.
Our
Yep.
gifts will make room for us, and He has a way of providing opportunities. Listen, all He needs is a yes from us, right? All He needs is a yes. And once our yes is like a key that unlocks the door. Would you agree with that?
Amen.
It,
Yes.
oh,
It
it's
is.
amazing, isn't it? It's mind blowing. It is mind blowing. And so, kudos to you all for taking what started out as a hobby, but
Hmm.
seeing the potential. When we talk about our purpose, we have to see the potential and then you acted on it. Faith
Yeah.
without works is still going to be dead. Listen. And so, when you have faith and you're willing to couple that with action, mm, mm,
Hmm.
mm, I love not even the sky is the limit, but the stars above. Come on here. I love that. And so God has done amazing things. And I said before, He's just getting started. And so we are here with Magic Sense by JaiJou. You listen, now I know, right? It's JaiJou, and now I know.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so we have Jerica, who's mommy, and we have Jaidyn, who is a budding. What grade are you in, Jaidyn?
I'm in seventh grade.
Listen, honey, she's a business owner rocking it out on her, got her stuff on Walmart.com, and she's only in the seventh grade. Listen, honey, oh my goodness, that is so amazing. I can't tell you what I was doing in seventh grade. Listen,
Right.
it wasn't that. I had ideas, and that's why being a parent, a parent with a spirit, a spiritual parent, right, is so
Mhm.
important because there are so many things that kids can do, and that's really, I believe, kids are at a place where they really don't know the word no yet, right? They just
Mm.
want to know why. If you say no, what do they say? Why?
Ooh,
Why
that
can't we
journey.
do it?
She is in her Y stages, I tell you.
Absolutely, because they're curious and they
Hmm.
don't believe that anything is impossible.
Mm-mm.
No, it's just okay. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and don't let me say we can't do it. And the 10-year-old's like, okay, so why not again?
Right.
I'm like, oh, I don't have a good answer. He's like, yeah, okay. So we can't do it this way. Can't we do it that way? He's already got a solution.
Wow.
Already got a solution. And so when you think about, the word that says that we are to come to Christ, right? We are to come to him as what? Children.
Children.
Why? Because they don't believe that anything is impossible.
Nope.
And if you tell them that something is possible, boom, they gonna run with it. They ain't asking questions. They just gonna believe what they believe, right? And so it
Yeah.
is as we are adults, and especially as we are parents, making sure that we cultivate that spirit while we can before the world tells them no. Let's give them our yes, right?
Yes.
Let's find out
Mhm.
what they're interested in and figure out what we can do to help them get positioned for their purpose so they can start walking in it. And it's our job to get into position. I look what you said. It's our job to become better and to do our best, but it's
Mhm.
God's job. It's his responsibility to open up the doors and the windows of opportunity, but we have to be ready when
Yeah.
those doors open. Honey, I love what you said. And you said when you met with Jeff at Walmart.com, that he gave you suggestions on how, right, to revamp your website, how
Yes, it's
to
called the Walmart way.
doing it the Walmart way. Shout out to Jeff, right? Absolutely. And so understanding your description needed to be upgraded, right? We're not
Hmm.
upgrade your descriptions, upgrade maybe the ease of how people can find your product, right?
Yeah.
Different things that we may take for granted, but because he has a different perspective, he was able to share that enlightenment with you. Now, so my question is, one, I love that you all were teachable.
Mm. Yes. You have to
Mhm.
always be teachable. You have to. Like you don't want to ever stop learning. I'm always wanting to keep continual learning.
I love
Because
it.
when you stop learning, then you stop growing. And who wants to stop growing? Who wants to
Mhm.
die of themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't
That's
want to
good.
do that. You want to continue to grow and continue to learn and being teachable, to people that are where you want to be
Mhm,
can get you
mhm,
there,
mhm.
and so that's what I try to do is always remain teachable,
That's
especially if I
good.
don't know.
That's good, and that's so profound. When you stop learning, you stop growing.
Hmm.
Jaidyn, you hear that, right? Girl, you got a lots of learning. As you grow older, never stop learning. Never stop being curious. And that's one of the things that as children, they are so natural at is being curious. But that's a form of learning, right? That's
Hmm.
something that, as we've gotten older, the world has tried to stop us from doing in some ways, right? It's to stop learning. But I love what you said, when you stop learning, you stop growing. And so
Hmm.
you don't ever want to stop growing. And we don't ever want to hold on so closely to what we think we know that we don't make room for what we could know.
Right.
Mm. Just imagine if you hadn't been teachable. Y'all still be at the farmer's market only. No shade to those
Woo.
at the farmer's
Yeah,
market,
no
right?
shame to the farmers, but it's cold. It's cold and it's hot.
Never,
It's
It's
never
cold.
never perfect.
it's never like a good day, a good temperature. So, and
Absolutely.
it's outdoors. I'm really not an outdoors person.
Oh, come on. You don't like being out there with the bees,
I don't. I
swatting
don't
the
like
flies?
bugs. I've never liked bugs, and so
Me neither. I will run,
being
honey.
outdoor, yeah, being outdoors with them. I mean, that's their territory. They can
Hmm.
have that.
Absolutely. Yesterday, let me just tell y'all this funny story. Then I have a question for you.
Uh huh.
Yesterday, I was outside walking the dog, and I thought a leaf fell in my hair. I was like, "Oh, well, that's just interesting." But it was a big. Oh, I was like, "Well, that's a hard leaf. Good gracious!" And so I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was on the phone, and I picked it up, and it was a wasp, baby. I threw that thing down so fast. Talking about stomping, I was like, if I didn't have that dog, I would have been stomping and running. Listen, you right. I was in their territory, but I had to get out of there.
Mm,
I am
look,
so sorry for all the wasp lovers, but what could not happen was that wasp getting up to chase me. I had to let it know.
yeah, no, I don't blame you. I do not blame. I've never, I couldn't imagine them and spiders, because like flying things and spiders, I just be like, y'all,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm,
You
let me
speaking my language. I'm your sister for real. Listen,
y'all can have
I
it.
have learned. Let me tell you, I have learned. Because I won't get close up with a spider. Like I don't
Mm-mm,
want to. I don't want to know you like that, right?
mm-mm.
So
No.
what I have learned to do is get that Clorox spray or some kind of spray that's gonna knock them all the way out. When they smell it, they be like, bam, that's when I hit them. They were like, what is this? Don't worry about it. When I see them start walking slow, bam, Jaidyn, I knock them out,
Yep.
honey. That's, you gotta learn. You
Yep.
gotta learn what works
You
for
let
you.
that
I don't
spray
have
go
the
before
heart.
you.
Yes, absolutely. It's the Holy Ghost in the spray that's gonna knock them out. Listen. So, for all of those that are tuning in, listen, this is the Kingdom Leaders Connect podcast. We are so happy to have you as a guest on today, and we're happy to have those that are viewing in on YouTube and will view in and that are listening on our podcast. We are here with some very special and amazing guests. We are here with Magic Sense by JaiJou, which is founded by Jerica and Jaidyn. Did I get it right, y'all?
Yes.
All right, all right. So listen, now that you have expanded your reach, come on here. Oh my goodness, what is that scripture that comes to mind? The
Enlarge my
Jabez
territory.
prayer. Say it again.
To enlarge my territory.
Yes, you knew exactly what I was thinking,
Yes.
right? Me just saying enlarged territory. I tell you, you have to be careful what you ask for, right? Or
Yes.
what you're believing for, because when it happens, it's not one of those things that you can turn off. The faucet of God's blessing, it don't come on and off. Once it's on, right? And it just
Yes.
pours. It pours. And so now that you all have expanded your reach and your territory and you're on Walmart.com, how
Mhm.
are you handling the orders? I mean, how quickly are they coming in?
So the only like Dr. Nikki tells us all the time, if you stay ready, then you're gonna have to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
I have started practicing making candles daily. I usually try to get 15 done a day minimum. We have overstock, or it's back stock rather, so that when the candle orders come in, I just have to box them up.
Absolutely.
There's no waiting. Walmart demands a 2-day shipping. You have to have your product shipped out within 2 days of the order. So with that, you can't, waste time. Candles are something that you don't want to rush to do.
Because they got to sit, right?
They have to sit. Yes, they have to
Mhm.
sit. They have to cure. If any imperfections come about, you have to correct them. So, you don't want to be making it the day that it's ordered. So I practice, making sure that we keep our inventory stocked, especially with doing shows this season. We have a show every single weekend, like every single weekend through through the second week of December.
So,
So mhm.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say, tell us about what your shows are, but real quickly, you said something that you saw me shake my head, Jade, and I was like, oh Lord, listen. I love what you said. You said when you're making the candles,
Mhm.
they have to cure, right? They gotta be still so they can take the shape. Is that right? The molding or
Yes,
whatever. They got
yes.
all the stuff gotta settle, right? That y'all now listen, I don't know what I'm talking about. So y'all stop me when I'm wrong,
No,
okay?
you're right. It has to, yeah, they have to sit and they have to solidify
So yes,
completely.
yes, yes, absolutely. Because who wants a squishy candle?
Right.
Nobody, right? James like,
Yeah.
yeah, imagine that. No, nobody wants that. But um, I thought about the process with God. A lot of times he has to make us be still, and we don't know why. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's because he's trying to get us to be molded. Come on here to
Yeah.
his image so that we look more like him. So that when he sends us on our way, right, we'll be able to talk like him. We'll be able to walk like him. We'll be true representation of our Father. Amen. I don't know. I didn't went there.
Amen.
I didn't went to church, Jayden. We talking about candles, Jayden, but I didn't gone to church on us. I'm sorry. Let me go
Yeah,
ahead and
but you're right. You're right. It takes time, and that's just a lesson to people that aren't where they want to be right now.
Mhm,
A
mhm.
lesson to people that are still on their journey, that are still, trying to find those things that they like, that they're passionate about. It's a
Yeah,
process.
it's a
You
process.
have to be still and just, hone in on your relationship with God and allow him to mold you into what you want to
Mhm.
be, because he
Mhm.
knows our hearts. He knows our hearts. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's just a lesson to them too. Those that aren't where they want to be yet. Be
That's right.
still. Be
Be
still. Allow
still.
God to mold you from the inside out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? This just reminds me, and then I do want you to tell us what you mean when you have shows. So, and also let us know where those shows are in case our listeners are in your area and they can find you and come pick up their candles. But you know, one of the things that the Lord has shared with me recently, we're in a day and age where there's always more information, right? If you look at just Clubhouse, because that's my app, y'all. I love clubhouse.com. Listen, I don't know if it's a .com, but I love Clubhouse, okay? Everything is a
Yeah, me
.com for
too. I
me.
love Clubhouse too.
It has been a game changer because there are so many like-minded people
Mhm.
on there who are action takers. That's who I speak to. So our Kingdom Leaders Connect audience are high achieving, impact driven kingdom leaders. They are people who are doing the doggone thing, right? Or are getting themselves in position so they can start doing the doggone thing. But one of the things that the Lord shared with me recently is that I got everything I need in me. I've got what I need. And so in this day and age where we're in an informational society where we're bombarded with information every time we cut on the TV, every time we cut on the
Mhm.
phones. I mean, even if we don't even really listen to, do we listen to radio anymore? But every time we open up our
In the
smartphones, right?
car.
Do you even know what Jaidyn, do you know what a radio is?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking for a friend because you know what I mean. The boys be like, what is that? The only radio they really realize is the car. They
Yeah,
don't
the
realize
car.
that we can actually have the radio in the house. You know, back in the day, we had those. I don't know. You said you're 30, so okay. So I'm gonna go with my gen. We had
We
the
had boom
boom
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah, we had boom boxes, and we
Okay,
had that stereo system where you got the stereo, and then you got the two big speakers
and
on
it
the
was
side.
massive, right? It was massive, and you knew that you were going to somebody's house who was amazing if they had the big one and the multiple
Mhm.
tape decks, and it
Yep,
had like
and the tape players.
and the record player at the top. And then when CDs came out,
Yeah,
listen, Jaidyn, you had CDs, you had the record player, you had listen, whoa. It was amazing. Oh my, okay, now we're going too far. But anyway, and so what I'm trying to say is there's information coming in all of our ear gates and our eye gates
hmm
consistently. And if we're not careful, you listen, I am the one who would chase that little shiny object all day long. Like, oh my gosh, what's this? What's this? Because we're curious by nature, right? We
right.
want to learn more. However, but what God is sharing with me is that we have what we need. It's
Yep.
already inside of us.
Yes.
And as you said, we just got to learn to be still so that we can hear God speaking to us. And then, you know, that thing with Moses, like, what's in your hand, right? You
Right.
know, that thing, what's in your hand?
What's in your
What was in
hand?
your hand? You were already candle makers, but you had to take the time and be intentional, right? And then you kind of, just kind of started working your way through and you realized you had more in you than you
Mhm.
realized. I mean, and granted, you may have had to get some more training and whatever else was necessary to perfect your craft. But
Right.
a lot of times we're looking outside. Okay, Lord, I hear you. A lot of times we're looking outside when God really wants us to look on the inside.
Amen.
We got what we need. And then once we look inside, we turn that lens, to look at us and see what our gifts are. What are our talents? What are the things we've always loved to do? What are we good at?
Mhm.
When we do that, we'll be able to see God's hand on our lives. And then he'll start opening the doors to the outside resources, right? Come on here. Go on, Jerica. I'm going to stop
Yes.
talking.
That is, listen, that's so real because it's crazy how when you are walking in what God said, you know how people when you're younger they say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
But a lot of us don't know really what that is,
Right.
because we're afraid. Sometimes you have to step out in fear. Sometimes you have to keep going, even though you're afraid, because to be honest, you're so much more fulfilled and God really shows up when you're doing what he wants you to do. you
Yes.
know
Yes.
and it's because that's what he wants you to do, because what he wants you to do is going to better the kingdom. What he wants you to do is going to draw more people to him. What he wants you to do is going to help to
Mhm.
create and elevate you to where you need to be in life, because he knows your heart.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so that's why it comes so easy you know, when you're walking in God's purpose, when you're walking
Mhm.
in the purpose that God gave you,
Mhm.
it's not that, you know, there's some scientific, you know, explanation, or there's some voodoo or anything that makes it magical. It's
Right.
just the fact that God blesses what he puts his hands on. And when
Absolutely.
you allow God to feed you and show you what he wants you to do, and you start walking in it,
Mm.
your gift literally makes room for you.
Isn't it
Everything
amazing?
that you need is within you. We
It's
die because we stress out because we're not doing what God wants us to do.
amazing.
We don't, we have all these ailments and things, and these problems and depression and all these other things because we're not doing what God wants us to do.
Mm. You know, I'm
And we
ready to.
just sit back
Mm.
and we
This.
just ask God,
Mm-hmm.
what do you
Mm-hmm.
want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different life. It's a totally different life. There's so much peace. There's
Yes,
so
it
much peace
is.
in following God's word and his plan for your life,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, I know it takes I'm like I said, I'm 34. It took me years to get here. But, you know, just the fact that you know to know where you got to go, you know, it should be good peace enough. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited about what God's working and doing in our life. You know, I'm excited about the path that we're on now. I love the Herpreneur Network. It's not only because my sister is everything to me. I have a sister. I have one sister, and her name's Ivory. She has a clothing company, and
Shout out to Ivory,
yes,
y'all.
shout out to Ivory. She has an amazing clothing line. She's walking in her gift as well. Because even as a child, she would style me because I'm not one to put stuff together. So she's always been into fashion. She gets that from my mom. But her walking in her purpose, you know, we have to see our assignment is not just for us.
That's right.
Okay, if I wasn't walking
Mm.
in my purpose, if I wasn't doing what God want me to do, my sister wouldn't have been able to start doing what she was supposed to do. You know, the people that are surrounding us wouldn't be able to do what they're
Mm.
supposed to do.
That's right.
Like with Dr. Nikki, if she hadn't have stepped out on faith and listened to God and do the road that she's going to go, we wouldn't even met.
Absolutely.
Maybe not, you
Absolutely.
know, not as soon as we did, you know, because
Absolutely.
her connection to us and her doing what she's supposed to do would put us together.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
so just imagine when the world lines up and does everything that God
Mm.
wants them to do. Everybody, I mean, imagine how amazing it's going to be. But until then, I thank God for everything that He's doing in our life and in our company.
Absolutely. It is amazing. I tell you, the name of my company, which is where Kingdom Leaders is under, is positioned with a purpose. And, that is it's so profound. And the more I grow, the more I understand the significance of it, even the more. Because, a lot of times I always say, we spend our wills looking for our next big moment, right? We're
Mhm.
chasing what we think is success and not realizing how successful we are already by
Mhm.
waking up. When you wake up, Jaidyn, you are so amazing just because you woke up, baby, right? When
Mhm.
you go to school, you can't imagine how somebody's day just got better because you came to school that day. There's something
Amen.
about Jaidyn that only Jaidyn can do, only Jaidyn can be. And it sounds crazy, but your presence makes the difference. And so there's some giftings that are inside of you that other people may have, but they still can't do it quite like you, right? They can't listen. There's a lot of loud mouth chicks in this world, but they can't be loud quite like me. You understand what I mean? And so there are a lot of candle makers, but they don't make the sense quite the way that you all make them. And so, us, and that's a part of my soapbox is how we show up matters. It is so
Yes.
important that we show up with our purpose. We already know who we are. We show up with confidence because when we know who we are, I don't care, even on Clubhouse, honey, we show up differently, right? There's a
Mhm.
different, we actually are not afraid to show up. And somebody's lives, they're not somebody, people's lives are changed because we've showed up. And so our positioning in life is so important. It is. And God, strategically places us right where we're supposed to be so that we can meet the Dr. Nikki Ziegler's, right? So that we
Mhm.
can be in a room called Herpreneur Network, so that we can talk about business. But if everybody was doing something else and was so busy chasing other things, imagine we would not be here today. So I am
Yep.
so very grateful for you knowing who you are and having a desire to even start that room that allows us to come in and talk about our businesses and work what we're working on so that we can be supported, because that's one of the things that's missing in the Black community, right?
Yes.
I don't know about any other communities. I can only talk about the one that I'm a part of.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying, right? I'm just saying. And
Yes.
so in our community, the support, it's there, but we don't
Hmm.
hear about it as much, right? We don't see it. And so your room is a great place that we can
Oh, I
support one
love,
another. It's
love.
amazing. It's amazing.
I love that room. I tell you, there's everything that you need as an entrepreneur comes in that room. God brings it together. Because I tell you, Journey's usually home in the mornings when we have the room. It starts at 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. And she's, she gets up. She absolutely loves. She calls them her ladies. She's like, Mom, we gotta go talk to the ladies today.
Oh, I love
She
it.
loves to hear the sharing. Not only do we talk about our businesses, we talk about our businesses. We talk about where we can find each other, because sometimes people are right there in your city, or sometimes you're going to be in
Right.
town that weekend. You can go and support them,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a lot of stuff is virtual now. You be able to get more followers for your platforms, because everyone,
Absolutely.
I truly believe that God sends your business for you to help someone else. And so that platform is an amazing way to reach people. We talk to people in Africa, we talk to people in
Yes.
Europe, I mean, all around the world. People have come into the room and networked and really made connections, really
Mm-hmm.
found products and services that they needed for their businesses. And so
Absolutely.
that room is just, I absolutely love getting up in the mornings now. I was not a morning person.
Talk
I was
about
not
it.
a morning person.
Jaden's like,
So
no.
I was like, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drink my coffee and we're gonna do this, And
Absolutely.
then ever since then, it's just grown. There are amazing people that come
Mm-hmm.
in. We have a church in there sometimes too. Sometimes people just need prayer. Sometimes people
Yes.
need guidance, and God comes and shifts it. But every day that we open that room, I
Mm-hmm.
honestly believe that the people come in and get what they need. I
Absolutely.
pray before to make sure of it. But I absolutely love that room, and it's just like I said, it's people are all over the United States and all over the world that come in, and just to be able to be on one platform in different times, everybody's on a different
Absolutely.
time, so but we're
Absolutely.
all together at once,
That's
and that's the
awesome.
uniqueness of it.
That's awesome. Want to give a shout out to our sponsors. So our sponsors are the JoiStik, which allows you to stream on multiple platforms, and then none other than Magic Sense by JaiJou. And so I'm so glad to have JaiJou here, the Magic Sense JaiJou Queens,
Yeah.
here on today. And so let us know, along with the website that we have, and
Mhm.
for those podcast listeners, you can find it in our description, but the website also is Magic Sense by JaiJou.com. And that is JaiJou. So Magic Sense BYJAIJOU.com. Because we take for granted, right? We're doing podcasts and YouTube. So some are able to see it, our banner, and others
Yes,
are only
some of them
listening.
can. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we want to make sure that all of our listeners are able to purchase candles wherever they are. And if you go to our description, there is a link, whether you're on YouTube or podcasting, and there's a special link there where you can go right to the podcast description and grab your link right there and go on in. There's a little something, I think a little something, something for our listeners. What do they have? Oh, come on here. We got our sponsor. Tell them, Jerica.
Yes. Yes. So I want to offer 20% off if you type in Kingdom, 20% off to anyone that used the link that she provided, and type in the word Kingdom into your promo at the end, and you'll be able to get 20% off of your purchase.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. I love it. I love it. See, there's a blessing in listening, right? See, that's what happens when you show up. You have no idea
Yes.
what you're going to get. I love it. Thank you so very much for making sure that our listeners get something. I wanted to make sure that they got something as well out of the deal, right? For listening and being a part of our Kingdom Leaders Connect community. So let us know before we wrap up, where are your shows and how can they have access to
Oh
those
my
amazing
gosh.
candles?
Okay, so if you want to, if you're in the Clarksville, Tennessee area, we will be at the Wilma Rudolph Event Center on this weekend On next weekend, we will be at the Old Glory Distillery here, also in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Then in the 26th through the 28th, we're going to be in Florida, in Davenport, Florida, and all of the events are on our website too, the exact addresses, so you guys can show up. And then we're also going to be at a conference in Florida, December the 10th. The amazing Mandy Fresh is hosting a women's empowerment conference, and we will be there on December the 10th.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, y'all. So you have heard, listen, you have multiple ways. I love it. You got multiple ways to get some magic sense into your life, right? So
Yeah.
you can go to their website at magicsensebyjaijo.com. I almost said it again, right? You can also go to walmart.com to grab your candles, or you can meet them at one of the shows, and they're here in Clarksville, Virginia. So listen, no excuses, right? Where there's a candle, there's a way. How about that? Can we say that?
Yes.
Jake, is that all right? That's the new slogan, right? Where there's a candle, there's a way. Listen, if you want to get the candles in your life, you have multiple opportunities and ways to purchase one. So, Miss Jaidyn, I don't want to leave you out. I thank you so much for showing up and being one of our guests on today. So, is there anything that you would like to share with our listeners before we go?
Yes, actually. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for actually letting us talk to you and you, Miss Shonda. That's how you say it.
Yeah. So
Yes, you did good.
Thank you. And I also wanted to say, come get your candles, because I'm pretty sure they can help you find something that you're missing in your life. Like they helped me find something that I was missing. And that was just to learn new things, and that I was missing the fact that I didn't know that I was losing family time, but now I have a new way to have time with my family, and I have new ideas that I'm able to share, and just new laughs and new happy moments together. So thank you.
Any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to say shout out to some people.
All right, let's do it. Who we shouting out? I love
shout
it.
out my auntie, Miss Ivory. She has the one of a kind clothing line, like my mother mentioned. But I would also like to shout out my grandmother. My grandmother, Miss Victoria Conley, for helping us and giving us ideas and like telling us, like she was our secret, like, you got any more candles for me? You know?
Absolutely.
Them two are a mess.
Oh, I love it. I love
So
it.
her middle name is Victoria. Jaidyn's, just a fun fact, Jaidyn's name means God has heard victory. The way that it's spelled. Her middle name is Victoria, which means victory, and then the way her name is spelled means God has heard, and so that's what her name means. And it's funny because my mom's name is Victoria, so they do Team Victoria with each other, and they do partake in many candles.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for the shout outs. Thank you for being amazing guests. And I can't wait to hear when you come back how God has expanded the business even the more. I am so excited. And so thank you for your yes to God and your yes to candles. And I got to get my yes, because I got to get some candles up in here so I can smell the aroma and get some of that peace in a candle. Come on, peace in a jar. I
Yes,
know
peace
that's
in
what
a
it is.
jar. Look,
In a
you're
jar.
giving us everything. Yes, peace in a jar.
Yes,
I
I
love it.
love it. I love it. So again, thank you all for coming. And so we thank Jerica and Jaidyn for joining us on today. Again, you have been listening and watching Kingdom Leaders Connect, the podcast. And so until we meet next time, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure if you're listening to the podcast that you like and or follow the podcast, listen, of course, and share it with the world. Why? Because we are kingdom leaders and we're connecting, because I believe that everything we need is right here. So this is a resource for you and inspiration for you to start or end your day. Have an amazing, amazing day.